Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, this is Video Bob Mosley, and you're listening to the Devil You Know podcast. And I don't know if you know the devil. I know him personally. Matter of fact, I just went bowling with the guy, and I got to get going because Prince is waiting for me outside. See you guys later.
Some evidence of a new satanic age. The 7 deadly sins of the Christian church are greed, pride, envy, anger, gluttony, lust, and sloth. Satanism advocates indulging in each of these sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. A Satanist knows there is nothing wrong with being greedy, as it only means that he wants more than he already has. Envy means to look with favor upon the possessions of others and to be desirous of obtaining similar things for oneself. Envy and greed are the motivating forces of ambition, and without ambition, very little of any importance would be accomplished. Gluttony is simply eating more than you need to keep yourself alive. When you have overeaten to the point of obesity, another sin, pride, will motivate you to regain an appearance that will renew your self-respect. Anyone who buys an article of clothing for a purpose other than covering his body and protecting it from the elements is guilty of pride. Satanists often encounter scoffers who maintain that labels are not necessary. It must be pointed out to these destroyers of labels that one or many articles they themselves are wearing are not necessary to keep them warm. There is not a person on this earth who is completely devoid of ornamentation. The Satanist points out that any ornamentation of the scoffer's bodies show that he, too, is guilty of pride. Regardless of how verbose the cynic may be in his intellectual description of how free he is still wearing the elements of pride. Being reluctant to get up in the morning is to be guilty of sloth, and if you lie in bed long enough, you may find yourself committing yet another sin, lust. To have the faintest stirring of sexual desire is to be guilty of lust. In order to ensure the propagation of humanity, nature made lust the second most powerful instinct, the first being self-preservation. Realizing this, the Christian church made fornication the original sin. In this way, they made sure no one would escape sin. Your very state of being is as a result of sin, the original sin. The strongest instinct in every living thing is self-preservation, which brings us to the last of the 7 deadly sins, anger. Is it not our instinct for self-preservation that is aroused when someone harms us, when we become angry enough to protect ourselves from further attack? A Satanist practices the motto, if a man smite thee on one cheek, smash him on the other. Let no wrong go unredressed. Be as a lion in the path, be dangerous even in defeat. Since man's natural instincts lead him to sin, all men are sinners, and all sinners go to hell. If everyone goes to hell, then you will meet all your friends there. Heaven must be populated with some rather strange creatures if all they live for was to go to a place where they can strum harps for eternity. Times have changed. Religious leaders no longer preach that all our natural actions are sinful. We no longer think sex is dirty, or that taking pride in ourselves is shameful, or that wanting something someone else has is vicious. Of course not. Times have changed. If you want proof of this, just look at how liberal the churches have become. Why, they're practicing all the things that you preach. Satanists hear these and similar statements all the time, and they agree wholeheartedly. But if the world has changed so much, why continue to grasp at the threads of a dying faith? If many religions are denying their own scriptures because they are out of date and are preaching the philosophies of Satanism, why not call it by its rightful name? Satanism. Certainly, it would be far less hypocritical. In recent years, there has been an attempt to humanize the spiritual concept of Christianity. This has manifested itself in the most obvious non-spiritual means. Masses, which had been said in Latin, are now said in native languages, which only succeeds in making the nonsense easier to understand, and at the same time robs the ceremony of the esoteric nature which is consistent with the tenets of the dogma. It is much simpler to obtain an emotional reaction using words and phrases that cannot be understood than it is with statements which even the simplest mind will question when hearing them in an understandable language. If priests and ministers were to have used the devices to fill their churches 100 years ago that they use today, they would have been charged with heresy, called devils, oft-times persecuted, but certainly excommunicated without hesitation. The religionists wail, "We must keep up with the times," forgetting that, due to the limiting factors and deeply ingrained laws of white-light religions, there can never be sufficient change to meet the needs of man. Past religions have always represented the spiritual nature of man with little or no concern for his carnal or mundane needs. They have considered this life but transitory and the flesh merely a shell, physical pleasure trivial, and pain a worthwhile preparation for the kingdom of God. How well the utter hypocrisy comes forth when the righteous make a change in their religion to keep up with man's natural change. The only way that Christianity can ever completely serve the needs of man is to become as Satanism is now. It has become necessary for a new religion based on man's natural instincts to come forth. They have named it. It is called Satanism. It is that power condemned that has caused the religious controversy over birth control measures, a disgruntled admission that sexual activity for fun is here to stay. It is the devil who caused women to show their legs to titillate men, the same kind of legs now socially acceptable to gaze upon, which are revealed by young nuns as they walk about in their shortened habits. What a delightful step in the right or left direction. Is it possible we will soon see topless nuns sensually throwing their bodies about to the Missa Solemnis rock? Satan smiles and says he would like that fine. Many nuns are very pretty girls with nice legs. Many churches, with some of the largest congregations, have the most hand-clapping sensual music, also satanically inspired. After all, the devil has always had the best tunes. Church picnics, despite all of Aunt Martha's talk about the Lord's bountiful harvest, are nothing more than a good excuse for Sunday gluttony, and everyone knows that lots more than Bible readings goes on in the bushes. The fundraising adjunct to many church bazaars is commonly known as a carnival, which used to mean the celebration of the flesh. Now, a carnival is okay because the money goes to the church so that it can preach against the temptations of the devil. It will be said that these things are only pagan devices and ceremonies, that the Christians borrowed them. True, but the pagans reveled in the delights of the flesh and were condemned by the very same people who celebrate their rituals, but call them by different names. Priests and ministers are in the front lines of peace demonstrations and lying on railroad tracks in front of trains carrying war materials, with as much dedication as their brothers of the cloth from the same seminaries who are blessing the bullets and bombs and fighting men as chaplains in the armed forces. Someone must be wrong someplace. Could it be that Satan is the one qualified to act as accuser? Certainly, they named him that. When a puppy reaches maturity, it becomes a dog. When ice melts, it is called water. When 12 months have been used up, we get a new calendar and the proper chronological name. When magic becomes scientific fact, we refer to it as medicine, astronomy, etc. When one name is no longer appropriate for a given thing, it is only logical to change it to a new one which will better fit the subject. Why then do we not follow suit in the area of religion? Why continue to call a religion the same name when the tenets of that religion no longer fit the original one? Or, if the religion does preach the same things that it always has, but its followers practice nearly none of its teachings, why do they continue to call themselves by the name given to followers of that religion? Do you not believe in what your religion teaches? Why continue to support a belief which is contradictory with your feelings? You would never vote for a person or issue you did not believe in. So why cast your ecclesiastical vote for a religion which is not consistent with your convictions? You have no right to complain about a political situation you have voted for or supported in any way, which includes sitting back and complacently agreeing with neighbors who approve the situation just because you are too lazy or cowardly to speak your mind. So it is with religious balloting.
Sir, I believe I found something.
What is it?
Not sure, sir.
All right. Bring it up on the monitor. Computer, analyze.
Initializing analyzation. Initializing analyzation. Those are two completely different things. Analyzation complete.
What is the age of the artifact?
It appears to be approximately 6,666 years old, precisely.
Approximately precisely, huh? What is its composition?
It appears to be made of two precious metals found only on the carbon-based planet named Terra 6 in System 6 of Galaxy 6, formerly known as Earth. The first is sterling silver, and the other is 14-karat gold.
Is there any record of a previous entry?
Affirmative. Record number 66 shows a similar artifact with a perfect match known as the Anton LaVey sigil pendant.
What is its origin?
The origin is a place called I Satan.
From a place.
So sorry, you grammar Nazi. The origin is from a place called I Satanist, a company that produces the finest quality satanic jewelry in the known universe.
Computer, don't you mean produced?
Negative. I Satanist still exists to this day, sir.
How is that even possible?
Wow, you ask a lot of questions. Before the destruction of Terra 6, I Satanist has expanded to all other Terra planets in order to survive. It is known that self-preservation is the highest law.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that. Take us to the nearest I Satanist immediately.
Plotting course now.
All right, so for episode 60, John, how about spitting some open mic at me?
I'm not going to do that, but our guest will. We've been contacted by Raul Atondo a few times now. He's a great fan of the show, and we find him to be an interesting fellow. He's seen some things, and he wants to share it with everybody, and I think it's going to be good. So, citizen of the Infernal Empire, Raul Atondo, everyone. How's it going, sir?
What's happening, man?
How you guys doing today?
I'm fucking amazing.
Are you?
$1.
Of course.
John Shaw is always amazing.
I'm always amazing.
He's Shawsome.
Motherfucking Shasta.
All right. So what's going on, man?
Raul?
What you been up to?
Nothing. Go to work tomorrow. It's gonna be early morning, but whatever. It's just another day. And how about a 2-week vacation before school starts again? And that's about it.
How could you work the day after Carrie Fisher died?
Right?
Yeah. Some people don't know who that is. Some people don't know who that is.
It's got to be a memorial service to her somewhere. So
Yeah.
Not in this fucking town. Not in this town.
What town is that?
310 out of Yuma, then.
Yes, sir.
Yuma.
The first time I heard Warlock Milton Coover say his town, I was kind of letting out a big hollering. So it was nice to know that I wasn't the only member that was part of this shithole.
It's awesome.
Well, you recently kind of made some, I guess, a lot of people aware of how much you're paying attention by. You'll have to explain this to me, but it was some sort of a display of different religions, and they kind of had Satanism wrong, and you corrected it. Well, tell us about that.
So, well, I live in a really, really small town, and to get anything seen it means something. So, I'm a local student veteran at my local community college here, and I went into the library, and to the idiot left, there's a big fucking display, and I got a little closer, and up to obviously the Christian, all this other stuff was right in the center. But if you look to the top right, it was a Satanism, and it was 2 books that were not the Satanic Bible, and a summary that said Satanism. 95% of the fucking thing was wrong, and I kept it inside, and I was like, I need to do something about this. But then I know about all the other happenings around this country, so I was like, you know what? Let's do something. So I ended up I went on a small journey, and I talked to the first librarian that I saw. She ended up talking to me for a good 10 minutes. I ended up outing myself as a COS member because I needed to make a punch rather than a jab really, really fast. So
right.
I came out as I was a veteran, so they kind of took me a lot seriously, and just a nice small heavy dose of fucking lesser magic. And they walked with me to the display, and I told them, hey, this isn't what it's really about, but I got a couple books that I think you might want to see. And they're like, yeah, sure.
What books do they have in there?
They had, I believe, Modern Satanism, and
The fuck is that?
yeah, I don't even remember the author's name, but it was Modern Satanism and Encyclopedia of Satanism or some shit like that.
I think that Modern Satanism book. I could be wrong, but I think it's really a kind of a jab at Satanism, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that, but I'd have to call a Lifeline. I'm not, you know.
Yeah. So I let them talk, and then I brought, long story short, I brought on the Satanic Witch and my Portrait of the Doctor about 2 days later. They looked at it. I pulled out my red card really fast, and it went smooth. It went like water. And they were putting them up they put them up. I left, came back, and the stuff was up. And
nice.
hell yeah. I ended up talking to one of the librarians about the Satanic Bible, and within a week, the thing was revised, and they had the Satanic Bible, the Portrait of LaVey in the back, and Satanic Witch. And I was thinking about giving them the Satanic Scriptures, but I really love that guy. I really love that piece, so I kept that to myself.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was going to disappear. I just didn't know somebody was going to get, grabby hands.
I hate loaning my books to anybody.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd rather lend you money. But did you put a Devil You Know patch in there too?
I don't have one yet, John.
What
Sorry.
the fuck, dude? All right. No.
I'm so sorry. So that was that. That happened within a quick 5 days.
Now, how long was this? Like, is this display still up? Is it something that's ongoing?
It's till mid-January, basically. Mid-January.
Huh, right on. Yeah. All right, so hopefully a few people get their shit straight then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of people read nowadays, though, man. So we'll see how many people do go to that library.
Maybe I could send you a Devil You Know owl, and you could put that in there and just let them know that that's how we secretly communicate with one another.
Yeah.
That would be fucking awesome. On
Yow.
I was gonna say you could slide a picture of Christopher Walken in there too.
Yeah.
Hey,
just to really freak people out. Wait a minute, Christopher Walken's a member?
I don't know if we should do that, but I hear you.
Well, you don't have to say he's a member. Just put a picture in there.
Some people would believe.
What?
Some people would believe that.
Yeah, that's the problem. So you say you're a veteran. I mean, what branch were you in?
U.S. Army, sir. U.S. Army.
Don't call me sir. I work for a living. But I'm kidding. So
it does not work. Believe me.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah, right. I forgot my question. You brain farted me.
Stay with it, John. Stay with it.
Home. Yeah. So no, I mean, we're interested in what happened over there, like, because you said you went on a few tours. You told us earlier. So where have you been, man? Tell us about that, and let us know. Don't leave out any details, and let us know about like the Thailand hookers and everything. Just keep going. What is it? What was it like?
So you're talking about 6 years, so I can go on. I don't like to hear myself speak, but I got a lot to say, so you direct me.
And begin.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
You've heard this show before. I mean, the fun is shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did like anybody in your platoon fuck a goat?
No. That was local nationals. That wasn't literally army dudes. But
that's what they call them now. I thought they were called soldiers. They're called army dudes.
Sure, whatever you want to call them, John.
I had a whole big bag of those little green plastic army dudes. Those were awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty on par.
But go ahead.
I enlisted when I was 19. Spent my first in northern South Korea, so about 3 miles away from the DMZ, the militarized zone. And I spent a year there. Then I went to Fort Hood, Texas, Iraq after that, southern Baghdad. So I was in Iraq twice before I was 25.
Oh.
For me, for me, I was we were on a dismount patrol, and around one of these main MSRs, main supply routes. And as I was looking back, one of my platoon buddies was helping my other platoon buddy get over this wall.
Right.
And as he was doing that, it was just a massive fart fucking machine. One of the guys started laughing. And while this guy was hoisting this other soldier, one of my battle buddies, over the wall, and he just started fucking. And I was trying to be quiet. But I couldn't help it. I had to let something out, and I just started fucking laughing. Because there was a guy that was farting as his other battle buddies trying to help him over the wall. And this was about 1 a.m. So it was just hilarious. For me, it was hilarious. Because shit like this doesn't happen. It only happens.
So this was in Korea?
No, sir. This was in southern Baghdad.
Wow, they got burritos over there?
No, they don't. But they do have a lot of other food that's just as delicious. But
I feel like I missed part of the story.
How did
I feel like something skipped.
we skipped the beginning? We just went right to the end, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it took about 3 years to get to that story. That's why I want to get into the nutty part of it.
So
Okay.
that was the wildest thing that happened in 3 years. If somebody farted.
You have to be there, Dorian. You have to be there.
Do they issue you like Pepto-Bismol or something? What do you got? Milk of magnesia?
No, it was literally to get to that point. It was. We had a lot of missions that went down between night and day, and that was my first deployment to Iraq. The second one was about 2 years later, and no humor really.
Shit.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
And,
let me ask you this: when you were in Korea, did you ever get a massage?
I did not. I didn't really think about that.
What?
I heard Korean massages were good. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think about that every day, and I'm here in Florida.
It was the first time I had ever heard of spooning, and I want to say don't judge me, but do judge me on this one.
All right.
I was in the back of this massive army vehicle. It's called a 2-ton vehicle, and we were on a detail on a little crew to go pick up a bunch of couches and whatnot for my local camp, and I didn't know it was gonna be fucking cold as shit, because in Korea it gets really, really cold, and on top of monsoon season. So I got in the back of this vehicle. It was me and my other buddy, who shall remain nameless for this story. So it was really, really cold, and whatever, things happened, and we ended up fucking spooning in the back of this. It was the first time I had ever done a spoon, and it was a spooning in the back of this vehicle, and that has to be one of the more memorable bits of my my South Korean hostel tour.
Let me ask you this though: while you were spooning, did you enjoy it? Were you aroused?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. About 20 minutes into it, there was a certain warmthness that came over my body. So I just want to say it was a Leviathan from deep down. That's what I'll say.
Wow.
All right.
So let me get this straight. Like Dorian, you swing both ways, or what?
Me?
Did I say Dorian?
Yeah, you did.
I meant to say Aden. It was a Freudian slip. Actually, Aden's just pure gay. Who swings both ways?
Talking about it then.
No, he's totally straightforward gay. I think he's bi-curious or something.
Yes, he is.
Is that, so are you too, or what? What do you?
No,
what do you,
sir.
no.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna say sir anymore, John. I'll just say John.
Just say no. Just end it after that.
Say no, asshole.
Yeah.
No, straight. Perfect. Straight.
No, you prick.
About that.
Cool.
Sorry, Jen.
So any war stuff, like total like carnage? I mean, did you get to shoot someone?
Okay. So we went there. So I was a mortarman, and the
Take it to hey, don't just no flashback shit. Just you take it easy and let it out.
No problem. I'm having a pretty good night.
Cool.
So I was mortarman 11 Charlie, so I dealt with mortar missions, and I was involved about 3 counter-battle missions, and one of them was basically, if I had to do a mission, a counter-battery mission, it's gonna get a little stupid into infantry vernacular on this one, but I would send down these mortar rounds that literally would just make ground beef of anything within 75 meters of the actual target. And I responded about 5 rounds. So I wasn't engaged in direct fire, a firefight, but I did respond indirectly, which is 11 Charlie indirect fire support. So when I did respond, it was through this big ass fucking tube. It's basically a missile tube, but a very small version of it, and it's called the mortar round and a mortar cannon. So I did respond back with this round, and sometimes we get reports on what happened on the quote unquote the carnage or aftermath that came after. But that story is stuff like that. Some of this stuff is I can talk about it, but other stuff you literally just can't talk about it. But that's what I'll say. I responded to a couple indirect fire support missions, and that was in 2005 to 2006. By 2009, I was out. Yeah.
So how many kills do you have officially, sir?
I literally cannot tell you that just because I don't know.
Really?
It's very gray just because they didn't tell us certain things because it was.
Can you let us? Is it in the tens or in the hundreds?
No. It was.
Meaning it was your mortar, right? So you just kind of aim in a certain direction and hope it hits what you want to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we get a grid. We get a 10-digit grid about where we were supposed to send our quote unquote our splash. It was all these little terms that we had to use.
Yeah, because it makes it sound more fun. Our splash.
Yeah, it's a totally different language over there, but it was. I can't even say 10. It's just what is said about amongst commonplace. We didn't normally get the response of if we killed like 10 people or 11 people, so on and so on. Sometimes we literally just went on with the day.
Yeah.
We didn't really. If they let us know, then they'd let us know. But war is not what it is made out to be in the States. We only ram of it.
Hold on, I think the federal government's breaking up our connection. What'd you say?
we only hear. There he is. We only hear a small figment of communication over there because it's. They don't tell us, hey, you killed 10 people. It's later on they tell us how many. If we're lucky, we get told how many people we killed or we didn't kill. But stuff like that doesn't really get told through the pipeline to us.
Wow.
I would just send Amy Pitt over there and take care of business.
Amy Pitt would send she would send a couple kicks that would just light that fucking place up.
Such a fucking pussy.
It's awesome.
Shit. So, okay, you do some open mic work. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that.
I got a message via Facebook on a local open mic that we were having out here. So I wanted to do stand-up. But because this place is so fucking just drenched in PC that I knew I'd have to. One of the things I love is poetry. So I wrote all this stuff, this material. I really wanted to do stand-up, but I knew what kind of people, even on the Facebook advertisement that said keep it clean. So I knew I really couldn't. My stuff is more for 21 and above, but I knew what kind of people that'd be here. So about a month ago, I went to the night of a family reunion that we had here. I got a ride to the coffee house and it was already kind of getting packed. So I had about 3 poems I wanted to read out loud because I knew this place wasn't the comedy kind of place, because this place it's just a small fucking nursery, guys. This whole town is kind of a small nursery. And over here at this coffee house, it's just even bigger. So I looked at knowing who my audience was and how I would not necessarily incorporate lesser magic, but how I could express myself as an artist and be like, all right, how can I get the most chuckles, or what do I want to do? I want to let these people know who I am and what I am. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to get them with 3 of these fucking poems and just put a nice little satanic undertone to them. So I ended up reading about 3 of them, and they were a little serious, but I just wanted to wait for this wasn't comedy. It wasn't the night of comedy for me. It was more, hey, you want to speak to this local community, tell them what you're about. And through my poetry is what ended up coming out through fruition.
Okay. Do you have like what's your like favorite poem? Do you have it, to read now? Can you let us hear a piece?
Holy shit. Yes, it'd be an honor. So this is one of my favorites. It's called Shakers.
I swim through the forest of scattered trees, brittle bones and broken spirits, becoming the dances and the dreams of our enemies, rooted in the understanding that we were the adolescents of ancient times of antiquity, a sort of yesterday, some would say. I, now bask in the essence of modernity. The right now instead of what once was, long ago that our parents once dreamed of. We forged deeply in the hotbeds of lands cultivated by our beautiful sun, the morning star. In the distance, foreshadows upheavals of manufactured conflicts, trying to make light of their empty presence. Conflict of interest, problems of conflict, tunnels of truth, and mountains of obscurity. I'm the shaker, the ocean maker, mover of ripples and waves, creator of shockwaves and aftershocks, your perceived ringmaster of what should be, of what ought to be. No concrete idealism lay here, no fake bravado or inflated machismo, for I am the king of my earth, the lord of my skies, the ruler of all that I am to measure and judge and will measure, the brick builder, house maker, fortress pervader, kingdom shaker. I am the as-is of now.
Thank you.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's cool. My favorite part was I'm the shaker, ocean maker, baby taker, yard raker. That was fucking awesome, dude.
You faker.
Faker. Salt. Did you say salt shaker? I don't know what. I missed the part.
The kingdom shaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the baker, the candlestick maker.
Put a little on top too.
The Great Laker.
That was very cool, man.
No, it was cool. It was cool. I know we're busting on the maker, haker, taker, baker, shaker thing, but that's funny.
Breaker.
breaker. All right, listen. Let's.
That's the only thing I know about being a truck driver is you got to say breaker.
Rubber ducky. I got a mountie bounty on a bounty mountie. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, so let's talk Satanism, man. How old were you when you happened upon it?
Ooh, okay. So, the first time I bumped into the Satanic Bible, I was about 16, 17. It was in a bus on my way to school, high school at the moment. And I saw the first 5 pages of it. But
was the bus was the book sitting on the bus next to you or something?
No, I saw it. It was by a friend of mine. I thought it was a friend of mine. Turns out it wasn't a friend of mine. But she let me see it. I don't know if I would call her an occultist, or a Satanist. I didn't know too much about her. I want to say she was, but I wasn't aware of the word philosophy till in my mid-20s. And I looked at about 5 pages of the fucking book, and I didn't know the power that I was wielding at that time. But I looked at it real quickly. I barely skimmed it, and within like 10 minutes, I gave it back to her. I bumped into it again at about 28 at my former best friend's house. And the environment of where the book wasn't very conducive for me to learn. And it wasn't until about 3 years later that I ended this friendship. And I bumped into this book again at my younger brother's house.
How big is the book? You keep bumping into it.
Yeah. It's.
Was it the paperback?
What's that?
It was the paperback, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And it was. I saw it in one of her shelves. I ended up getting it. I saw it. I put it back because the environment, like I said, I didn't learn this quote until about a few years ago, but Ms. loves company, and this friend of mine wasn't very encouraging, and I bumped into the book again through my mentee, I call him my younger brother, Phil, and I was like, can I borrow it? He let me borrow it. It took me roughly fucking 8 to 9 months to read this little fucking book, but it changed my life forever. And
What's that sound? I hear some weird sound.
It's probably our freaking clock here. Sorry.
Oh, it sounds like a cuckoo clock or something.
Yeah, it is. Grandfather clock, yeah.
Oh.
Sorry,
man.
It'll stop in a minute.
Go ahead. It was this clock's a time taker.
So I read the book, and I was like, after about 2 months, I was like, this is me. I get it. Resonance, I get it. So I went with it, and then by the time you know it, I was reading the Satanic Witch, Devil's Notebook, Satan Speaks, and fucking shortly after was the Satanic Witch.
What the fuck was that, dude? It sounded like a ringtone.
You're gonna stop talking.
Oh, but anyway, so go ahead. You bumped into the book again because was it in your path?
Yeah, it was. I read it. Holy shit. Fucking, you guys are awesome at this. I like the way you guys make me push. I like that. I like the way you guys make me really thrust myself forward.
Yeah.
So,
it's like if you have to take a real big poop.
Innuendos there. Man.
Yeah, you're spooning. Now he wants to help you push.
Oh shit!
But
I don't do it on purpose.
It's like if people have to take a big crap, we're the laxative. Just let it out. Let it out.
So, within the last 3 years, it's been everything from the Satanic Bible, the Satanic rituals, the Satanic scriptures, and all of Satanic canon that it was like, all right, this is me. And this past summer, I was like, fuck it. I threw my lot in and got my red card. That was about August, and here I am.
All right.
Yeah.
So
fresh.
Yeah. Did you tell family and friends that you recognize yourself as a Satanist?
Oh man. So I don't talk to a lot of my family. It's whatever. But I did. My sister is a big part of my life, Julie, and she means a lot to me. And between me and her, hey, whatever. We can't all be winners. We're not all losers. So my sister is one of the biggest winners in my fucking life, one of the biggest rock stars in my life. So I ended up telling her what it was about, and I ended up mentioning your show, and with she I don't want to say she gets it, but she thinks of it as, all right, if it works for you, then so fucking be it, and that's all that needs to be said. I don't know if I've told my mom the title, but obviously that's a whole different story. Haven't really told my dad bits and pieces, but just the important people, 2 of my best friends, and just the 3-foot circle around me knows, and that's about it. That's all that needs to know.
Right on. That's all it needs to know, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Cool. So when you did tell the people that you told, did they act differently or treat you differently, or was it pretty accepting of it?
With after being a veteran, man, it's just either you fucking accept me or you don't. Right. You know, you either get it or you don't. And I do have a couple.
After spooning in Baghdad, who cares?
Yeah. It's all downhill from there.
It's vital existence, man. Some people are just gonna fucking get you or they're not. And I spent the earlier part of my life just being fucking miserable, man. It was very altruistic and trying to lead somebody else's fucking dreams and other people's footsteps when recognizing that I had my own footsteps. I just didn't know they existed. And I understood that I had to create myself. Nobody fucking finds themselves. We just create ourselves. Unless you're obviously like a fucking Christian or Catholic or one of those fucking things. But with me, it's creating myself, and I only found out a few months ago that I was an artist. So creating my own words, creating my own poetry. When I looked at poetry, I was like, I'm never gonna do something like this. But between poetry and my art class and doing my first painting, I was like, oh, I can fucking do this. Life doesn't have to be fucking miserable. The grass can be greener on the other side if you want to try. Because not too many fucking people try. And with me, being a veteran, it's like, when you wake up, what do you wake up for? Do you wake up for just to wake up? Or do you want to fucking thrive? Because a lot of people don't know what the fucking word thrive means. And I talked to them about all these concepts and philosophy and everything. I'm just amazed at how many people don't know what fucking the word philosophy means, the worldviews.
What's it mean?
It's.
I'm just kidding.
Tell us, Mr. Atondo.
Yeah.
Sure. With the way you look at the world around you, instead of what the ethereal think. For me, it's knowing that you can live, knowing that you can do something with yourself, that you can be fucking happy. Because I wasn't happy my whole life. It wasn't until I understand about Satanists being born, not made, that I was like, oh, I create my own fucking happiness. I can go somewhere and I put myself in the situation to be happy or be fucking miserable. And over here at my at my college, we have the vet center. And I put myself in that situation with all the other fucking wolves around me. These guys are fucking rock stars in my book. And they're just great. And I don't have to be fucking miserable because it doesn't have to be that way. And now knowing that, hey, you got fucking this book telling you that you are something, that I am something. And when I heard fucking Amy Pitt give off her little spiel, man, it was a punch. Satanist fucking punch. We don't really jab, we fucking punch. We're hurricanes. And I like that. I rather like a hurricane than a stagnated fucking pond. And there's nothing worse in life than having no imagination and being a stagnated pond. So to understand myself now as a fucking Satanist is to understand everything that's around me. And everything around me is a lot of shit to do. It gives my life substance. It gives my life meaning. I give my life meaning. Nobody else does.
Right.
My standards are higher than others. So if somebody has something to say against it, either you're in front of me, pushing me forward, showing me that there's good shit pulling you forward, you're behind me, pushing me forward, or simply just get the fuck out of my way, man. Because life's short.
I could dig it.
Yeah.
He'll say.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Cool. Well, I mean, so let me ask you a question we ask everyone. What does Satan mean to you?
I was prepared for your other one, John. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. That was a big fucking monkey wrench.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, what does Satan mean to you? You're like, Jesus Christ. I don't understand.
All right. Satan is is my essence. It's the permeating force that gives things meaning. It's a necessary conflict. It's a conflict that differentiates the mediocre from the best, from the might from stagnated fucking pond water. Stuff that never moves. Some essence that will never move. I am Satan, the permeator of conflict from might, because might is right. I am my own might, and I am the beast that is aware of himself. I am the human animal that is aware of himself. I am the essence that will push tomorrow's out of nowhere and bring my today into fruition. That is what Satan means to me.
All right.
It's not bad.
It's not bad
at all.
I got you. Awesome. So listen, we want to thank you for coming on, man. We know you're pretty busy out there doing your thing, and I want to thank you for coming on and sharing a piece of yourself with us. You're now devil we know.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, guys.
All right. Until next time, everyone, hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.